What's up guys, Asian here again with another dungeon guide video. This time we'll be going over White Gold Tower. This is a DLC dungeon. You're going to need to have access to the Imperial City DLC or have an active ESO Plus subscription in order to access this dungeon. Just like the rest of the DLC dungeons, this is a much more difficult dungeon to complete on Veteran than any of the other non-DLC dungeons. So do keep that in mind. A lot of people do suggest having a CP level of at least 300 before you attempt these dungeons. It is possible to clear it on a lower level, but the higher your CP are, the easier it will be just because you get some extra percentages onto those passives. Just like the last couple of guides, we'll be skipping over some of the trash mob fights, but we will bring the video back to a normal speed if there is something I believe you guys are going to need to know between boss fights. So after you clear this first set of mobs here, you have two options. You can go to the right and basically kill your way through to the front door of White Gold Tower, or you can head to the left. Come over here, make sure to sneak. You're going to jump onto this rail here. Blocking does help you get onto the spot, and then you're basically going to sneak behind all these pillars up here to this first sort of mini-boss right here. This mini-boss, it's kind of the first test as to whether your group is going to make it past White Gold Tower. If somebody dies here, it's okay, but it does indicate that you might have some difficulty. Also, how quickly you burn them down is also a pretty clear indication of where your group DPS is at and whether it'll be high enough to clear White Gold Tower. If he does manage to get more than one poison pool out, then you might want to reconsider continuing onward, because that's just an indication that your DPS might not be high enough to get past some of the bosses here. This here is the first boss, the Adjudicator. Couple of things to watch out for. Right when you taunt the boss, she's going to do a heavy attack on a targeted on a random player. There it is right there. It's basically hands that go down the ground. It can reflect off the back walls and basically come back towards her. Deal some pretty hefty damage and also staggers you, so you're just going to want to watch out for that. Kind of spread out at the beginning of the fight just so three of you don't happen to get hit by the same group of hands. During the fight, some ads will spawn. You can probably ignore them, but you can burn them down too. Doesn't really matter too much. Randomly during the fight, she's going to sentence one person and banish them into the cages you see around the outside. When that happens, either the person inside the cage or somebody out here is going to need to lockpick the cage in order to get that person out. It is an intermediate lock. You will see also at some point she will summon flow down some flame circles around the room. Just be mindful of where those are being thrown down. Here's a good point to kind of explain the mechanic. Throughout the fight and during one boss fight, there will be portals that spawn. If your screen does not change color, you cannot attack the portals, but if your screen does change color, you can attack the portals. If your screen changes color, your sole priority at that moment is going to be to take out those portals. They will spawn ads, and if they spawn during the boss fight, then you will get overwhelmed with ads. So whenever your screen changes color, it's going to change kind of a black and white color. That is your time to basically attack all the portals and make sure that they are all destroyed before they spawn too many ads. There are going to be several points during the dungeon where those portals will spawn, as well as during one of the boss fights. I'm going to go ahead and skip through these trash mob pulls on to the next boss. The next boss you face, going to be 3 Dragonites. Each of them can throw down magma armor and ash cloud, basically red AoEs. Sword and board can use chains, pull a random person over. That's the left one. The middle one is a Nightblade and can randomly teleport to a player. And the right one is a mage who can heal and throw down fire lines during the fight and also teleport around. General order is you go left to right, sword and shield first, then dual wield, then the mage. Again, they can all throw down their standard, they can all throw down magma armor, they can all throw down ash clouds. There's like a lot of red AoEs, a lot of fire damage, so just be mindful of that. One thing that is you can do when the fire mage throws down that move, you can interrupt them with something like crystal frags or any other move that stuns. That'll actually interrupt the that move and prevent him from completing it. It's a nice tidbit to know when you're facing off against that boss. And again, we will be skipping over the trash mob pulls until we get to the next boss. When you get to this portion here, there will be more portals. Again, if you happen to be assigned portals, your sole priority is to destroy them. If you are the tank, sucks to be given portals, but sometimes that happens. You're just going to need to run around and destroy the portals. Going through, skipping through these trash mobs. On to the next boss. Again, portals in this room as well. That'll open the door. When you have to face off against the Titan, make sure the tank taunts it first. He does have a move that is a one-shot. If you're going for a no-death, you're going to want to avoid that move. Alright, this is the inhibitor. There's a pinion there. Tank is going to touch that pinion, and whoever touches that pinion, basically the inhibitor will basically be taunted on that person. It'll also apply a damage over time effect that steadily gets worse the longer you hold the pinion. While the pinion is open, it will throw out fire. Boss has a couple of moves. You saw one there, some random fire circles. And she will also plunge to the ground, do a large AoE that's centered on her. You can see there that the dot is getting worse. This is why the tank should be the one to hold it. Sometimes you will find tanks and healers will swap on and off. Portals will spawn during this fight. If you are holding the pinion, you cannot be assigned portals, which is the main reason why the tank is normally the one to hold it. We do manage to burn her before we get to the blue phase. Basically, what happens during the blue phase is the boss will turn blue. She will apply a slow debuff on the person she is holding the pinion. Eventually, you'll get too slow, you won't be able to move, and she will AoE you down. When the blue phase starts, someone's going to need to take the pinion at first until the person says is slowed down to the point where they can barely move. At that point, someone else needs to take the pinion. It should not be the person who has portals, and you will basically run to the other side of the room and you basically swap back and forth with the pinions until the blue phase is over. When the blue phase is over, there is about a 4 to 5 second window where she's not going to be able to do anything. That's when you can basically burn her down. Step through the portal to get to the final boss, Molag Kena. She starts off in a lightning shield. You need to kill the 4 adds around her to start the fight. When you start the fight, there will be fire around the edge of the arena. That is a one-shot. Do not step into the fire. These adds, when they die, they will spawn a red AoE circle around them. If you are caught in that circle, then it is basically a one-shot, so do not stand too close to the lightning aspects, the adds, when they die. Otherwise, you will get one-shotted. The fight starts when you kill all 4 of the adds. Tank is going to want to keep the boss centered on that black circle as best as he can during the fight. Going to want to stay away from the edges. You'll spawn a lightning wall that will move around in a kind of clock-like fashion. Use that move, she will push you back. She will spawn an Atronak, target the farthest person from where it spawns. If he gets to you, he will knock you down and basically explode, killing anybody within the radius. At 60% health, she's going to go into this lightning phase again. She'll slam her staff down, knocking you back. This is why you want to stay close to the center. After she does that slam, you can back away and basically kite around the lightning walls that she spawns out. Once you kill all 4 of the adds, the cycle begins anew. She'll keep on throwing out lightning walls. After a certain point, she's going to stop throwing down the walls and basically slam her staff down. Each continuous slam will knock you back further and further. When she stops throwing down the lightning walls, you're going to want to move towards the center, just to minimize the possibility of being knocked back into the outer fire ring. That move right there will also knock you back if you get hit by it, so you're just going to want to be aware of that. At some points during the fight, she will summon out the little lightning balls that run around the arena. Just avoid those. They do not really have a pattern in where they spawn and where they run, so just keep your eye out on those and just make sure you're not getting hit by them. At 30% health, she will again go into the lightning shield phase. Again, get close in when she does the slam attack, move out so you can kite around the lightning walls. You can block through them, but if you do get hit by a lightning wall, it will apply a dot on you. So it's better to kite them rather than block through them. It is going to be difficult as the healer and DPS to get through that. Kite around the walls, but just do your best. Otherwise, just hold block while you're walking around. After the second lightning shield phase, she will summon lightning walls again. This time there will be 2. You're going to need to dodge through them, like I did just there, in order to avoid getting hit by them. Those 2 lightning walls, the strategy is to basically stay within them as much as you can and then dodge roll through them, and again, just kind of let the walls converge on you before you dodge roll through the lightning wall. You can't run through them on a veteran. You'll have to dodge roll. If you try to run through them, you will die. That last phase there is definitely a burn phase. The longer you last, the less stamina you'll have in order to dodge roll through the walls. This is those last 2 bosses are definitely more DPS check than anything else. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope this guide helps, and I'll see you guys in the next dungeon.